Yeah, people want to have something to say, but he ain't here with his kids. He ain't helping. He left at 6:00. He left at 6:06 to go be with his mama.
To be on his mama kid instead of over here trying to cook something to eat.
Instead of trying to.
Why is there got to be a question about do I need to cook for the kids? Why is there a question?
And he don't never have to question. He don't want to question everybody's loyalty. But where is his loyalty at?
I ain't saying no damn loyalty. I'm talking about.
But he want to talk about me when I am not doing. He want to talk about me when I'm not doing.
You want to talk about unnecessary?
Talk about unnecessary. Then he talking about calling the police. Talk about I'm gonna get my stuff. But you got 4 kids and a wife. It's 7:36. He can't even be.
He can't even come here and cook for these kids.
He can't even come here and cook for the kids.
He got to be at work at 8 o'clock.
Nah, matter of fact, he got to be at work at 9.
Okay, well he still got time to cook for these kids.
And then he got to go pick up his. He got to go pick up his buddy from his job, Law.
Well, he need to tell Law he need to get his mama car and go to work.
He pick up his brother Law, take him to work back and forth every day.
I ain't got nothing to
but
give
then,
nobody, helping nobody, but if Law
but he can't put gas in both cars.
That's what I'm saying. If Law ain't getting him no gas money to go to work, talking about people got stuff. Okay, he wanna put it like that. Oh, I got stuff to do too. I'm over here. I got stuff to do too. I'm over here. I'm over here cooking breakfast.
Yeah, what you on the phone with?
Uncle, bro. Boom. I'm talking about uncle. Chill out.
I'm over here. I'm doing.
No, you ain't trying to get ready for work. Look at him. This is a sad case, y'all. He getting his stuff. Look at that. Sad case. As a father.
Okay, Jeremy, what is the conversation you want to have?
We good.
Yeah, and your baby in the room.
What is the conversation you want to have?
We good. Give me my phone, bro. Don't shut
What is the conversation you want to have?
What the conversation?
Get out my
He
phone.
said, what's the
Don't
conversation?
Don't touch me. I'll call the police over here. Do not touch me.
He said, what's the conversation y'all want to have?
Get on me.
What's the conversation you want to have?
I'm finna send in. Don't get she touch me, please.
Ain't nobody touching you.
I'm gonna send my cousin over here. Do not touch me,
Don't
bro.
call nobody over here.
Oh, baby. Tell your daughter to keep her hands on
What
me.
is the
Tell your
conversation?
daughter to keep her hands on me.
You the one slap me.
Say you couldn't.
You the one slap me. Hit me now. Hit me now.
Keep your hands on me.
What's on? I'm still asking what is the conversation.
Oh man, that's what I'm finna do. I'm finna get out. I ain't really trying to argue at all. I'm just trying to get my...
Nah, you want to go tell your family about this and about that. You want to do this.
I'm trying to leave from over here to pee, man. I ain't trying to argue at all.
Ain't nobody.
I'm going to take my car key off.
Them my keys.
Stop. What is the conversation?
Nah, what's the conversation? What's the conversation?
Keep your hands on.
What's the conversation?
Keep your hands on. Don't touch me, bro.
What's the conversation?
Move, bro. I'm trying to get ready for work, man. Go on.
How you getting ready for work?
What is going on? That's all I'm here. I'm over here doing. Talking about I don't do nothing for the kids. I don't do nothing. I do what I can when I can.
Understand.
But like I said, don't keep putting me in situations that's not my problem. And then, like I said, this is your family. You supposed to be here helping, taking care of these kids. No, you're not good because you're not here taking care of these kids.
He wanna go call everybody.
Keep your hands on me, bro. Don't touch me again.
Touch you.
Jason, send that over here. We'll make it easy. Send that over here. I'm gonna do it just like that. Send that over here.
Ain't nobody finna come over here and do nothing.
Get your hands on me, bro. Stop touching me. Move.
Jesus, stop.
Send that over here, Jason.
Ain't nobody coming over here.
On me, bro. Sit down. Get your motherfucking hands on me, bro. Stop touching me, bro.
Stop.
Stop touching me.
I'm gonna kill you. Murder scene,
Touch me again.
Stop.
Let go. Touch me. Touch me again. Touch me a motherfucking again.
Stop
Touch me
pushing me.
again.
Ain't nobody finna do
Don't go to put my gun
that.
on
Ain't
me.
nobody finna do nothing.
Open the car. Put the phone you got there.
Ain't
Don't worry
nobody.
about it.
Stop.
Don't worry about it. Touch me again. Touch me again.
Stop. Yeah.
Touch me again.
Yeah. Stop. Yeah,
Touch me
bitch.
again.
Stop. Stop. I'm not open here for this.
Motherfucker gonna keep her hands
kill
on me,
your
bro.
ass, not bitch. Stop. Nobody, I can get out my bed for this.
Man, people so
Stop.
fucking, man. Yo, I lose my shoes on me.
Oh, you ain't getting nothing. Everything in the top belong to me.
Stop. don't have to stop all this. Cause then y'all wonder why the kids.
Columbus, Mississippi, March 25th, 2023. A Saturday morning like any other, until it wasn't. It was just before 8 a.m. when the silence in a small apartment on the edge of town was shattered, not by screams or glass, but by a single, sharp sound. A gunshot, echoing like a final word in a house that had run out of them. Within seconds, a man's life was over, a woman's life was forever changed, and a Facebook live stream had captured a horror nobody could unsee. But this story didn't begin with blood. It began with love, or at least, the illusion of it. Jeremy Brown was a soft-spoken man. Friends called him the quiet one, a loyal guy who handled his business without fuss. He worked. He provided. He stayed out of trouble. There was no record of violence, no history of rage, no red flags, at least not from him. If anything, Jeremy was the one who absorbed the blows, not physically, but emotionally, over and over again. Khadijah Brown, on the other hand, was intensity wrapped in ambition. A force of personality. She was expressive, driven, and loud. She wasn't evil. She wasn't a monster. But she was deeply wounded, and that wound seemed to bleed into every relationship she touched. The two met in 2017. What started as flirtation quickly spiraled into infatuation. Their chemistry was undeniable, but unstable. Like gasoline near fire, it only took a spark for things to go sideways. In 2018, Khadijah got pregnant. Jeremy stayed, not because they were a fairy tale couple, but because he believed in duty. He grew up in a home where leaving your family wasn't an option. He stuck around because that's what a man does. He tries. He sacrifices. Even if it kills him slowly. The first year of parenthood was hard. Jeremy worked long hours while Khadijah stayed home. She struggled with isolation, depression, and resentment. He struggled with exhaustion, anxiety, and an overwhelming sense that he was already too far in to get out. Fights started small, about money, chores, phone passwords. Then came accusations. Cheating, lying, disrespect. Jeremy never hit her. But Khadijah often hit his ego, his sanity, and his soul with words that cut deeper than fists ever could. Neighbors heard the yelling. Family members noticed the strain. But no one knew how bad it had gotten behind closed doors. And Jeremy? He internalized everything. He told friends, she's just going through something. He told his sister, I can handle it. He told himself, it'll get better. It didn't. By 2022, Jeremy was sleeping on the couch more nights than not. He started talking about leaving, not out of hatred, but out of survival. He wanted to be there for his daughter, but he couldn't breathe in that apartment anymore. Every conversation with Khadija felt like walking through a minefield barefoot. But Khadija didn't want him to go. For her, Jeremy wasn't just a partner. He was property. And the idea of him moving on, starting fresh, raising their daughter without her, that felt like a betrayal. In early March 2023, Jeremy began sleeping at friends' houses. Just a night here or there, enough to buy himself peace. But every time he returned, the tension grew worse. That final week, Khadija allegedly found messages on his phone. A woman's name. Flirty texts. Maybe it was real. Maybe it wasn't. But for Khadija, it was the match that lit the powder keg. Jeremy decided this was it. He packed his bag. He texted a cousin, "Can I stay with you for a while?" They said yes. But Jeremy made one last mistake. He went back to get clothes, to talk, maybe to find closure. What he found instead was a camera phone in his face. March 25th, 7:42 a.m. Khadija opens Facebook. She taps Go Live. The feed starts. Thousands of strangers tune in. Jeremy is calm, tired. He's zipping his duffel bag, not saying much, just ready to leave. Khadija, holding her phone, follows him through the apartment. "You really gone walk out on your daughter?" Jeremy mumbles something inaudible. "You cheating, ain't you?" He sighs. "I ain't doing this, Khadija." She turns the camera on herself, tears in her eyes. Or maybe just fury. She says something under her breath. Then, a sound. Not a scream, not a shout. A gunshot. The phone falls to the floor. The screen goes black. Jeremy collapses. He's shot in the side, bleeding, gasping. Khadija calls 911. She sounds confused, almost numb. Within minutes, police arrive. Jeremy is pronounced dead at the scene. The Facebook Live had ended, but the internet had already seen it, captured it, shared it. An execution disguised as an argument. A death broadcast in real time. Khadija is arrested. She says it was a mistake. She didn't mean to shoot. She just wanted him to stay. The city of Columbus is shaken. This wasn't some random domestic dispute. This was live-streamed tragedy. A daughter left without a father. A mother behind bars. A family shattered. And the question echoing louder than the gunshot. Why didn't anyone stop this? The truth is, no one thought it would go this far. But when relationships rot from the inside, the collapse is always sudden, always violent, always shocking. Jeremy Brown didn't die in a crime of passion. He died in a war of silence. A war too many men fight alone. And the saddest part? He had just started to walk away. Columbus, Mississippi woke up that March morning to something it couldn't unsee. As the news spread, shock turned to disbelief, and disbelief twisted into a dark, collective grief. A 28-year-old father was dead, not from a robbery, not in a freak accident, but in the middle of a domestic dispute, filmed and streamed by the very woman he once called family. Jeremy Brown became a name on the lips of a nation overnight. But behind the headlines was something deeper. A man caught in a slow, grinding emotional war, one that ended with a single bullet and left a child without a father. Khadija Brown was arrested at the scene. Calm, composed. According to initial police reports, she made no attempt to flee. There was no grand escape plan, no hiding of the weapon. She handed herself over like someone who had just crossed a line she didn't fully understand. She was charged with murder. But to those who knew her, really knew her, this moment didn't come out of nowhere. It was a crescendo. Khadija had always been fiery, independent, loud. But as her relationship with Jeremy spiraled, her behavior became harder to explain away. In text threads shared by friends and relatives later, there were signs of obsession and emotional manipulation. Screenshots showed repeated calls, threats of self-harm, accusations. If Jeremy didn't answer her within minutes, she'd unleash paragraphs of rage. If he tried to leave, she'd threaten to keep him from their daughter. Those closest to Jeremy said he felt trapped. And in many ways, he was. Because the face Khadija showed the world, a smiling mother, a pretty woman, sometimes even a churchgoer, wasn't always the face she showed behind closed doors. She was struggling with mental health and possibly According to whispers, a diagnosed but unacknowledged condition. But in a world that doesn't prioritize men's safety in domestic situations, Jeremy didn't feel like he had the right to call for help. He never filed a report, never told a boss, never documented anything. Maybe he was protecting her. Maybe he was ashamed. Maybe he thought no one would believe him. He wasn't wrong. After the shooting, something strange happened. People took sides. And not everyone was on Jeremy's. On Facebook, some commenters said she'd been pushed too far, that Jeremy shouldn't have disrespected her, that maybe she was provoked. It was a disturbing glimpse into how society often downplays male victimhood. Jeremy wasn't perfect, but he didn't deserve a bullet. He didn't deserve to be another, what could he have done better, case. He deserved peace. His family, still in shock, released a statement days later. Jeremy was a gentle soul. He was trying to leave. He wanted peace for himself and his daughter. He did not deserve this. They buried him on a Thursday. His mother wept beside the casket. His daughter, too young to understand, asked when Daddy was coming back. Meanwhile, Khadijah was denied bond. Inside the Lowndes County Jail, she gave no interviews. She had no viral confession, no tears for the cameras. But investigators began digging. According to police, the gun was legally owned. But how she got it, why she used it, and what her mental state was at the time, became the key to the case. Experts began debating whether this was premeditated. Was the Facebook Live a prelude? A warning? A trap? Or was it an impulsive act by a woman unraveling in real time? The footage was submitted as evidence. Audio analysis showed the argument lasted just under 2 minutes. Jeremy never threatened her, never raised his voice, never touched her. He was packing, leaving, quietly. And then, bang. Domestic violence, when it targets women, rightly sparks outrage. But when it targets men, it often gets mislabeled. It's not always fists. It's not always bruises. Sometimes, it's being called worthless for years. It's having your phone tracked. It's being shamed into silence. Jeremy wasn't weak. He was just worn out. He had tried to protect his daughter. He had tried to love a broken person. He had stayed longer than most would. And in the end, he paid the price. In the weeks after the shooting, his family shared more about who Jeremy really was. He loved old-school R&B. He was a decent cook. He played with his daughter every morning before work. He didn't like confrontation. He laughed with his whole body. He had just gotten a new job offer. Higher pay, better hours. He was planning a future, not just for himself, but for his little girl. That's what made the loss feel so cruel, so final, because he had almost made it out. The tragedy also sparked a broader conversation. Churches hosted panels. Local schools brought in counselors. Talk shows debated male abuse, how rare it is to report, and how often it's ignored. In Mississippi alone, male victims of domestic violence rarely seek shelter or assistance. Resources are scarce. Social stigma is high. Jeremy's case forced many to reckon with an ugly truth. Men are victims, too. And when we fail to protect them, we all suffer. As for Khadijah, her legal battle is ongoing. Defense attorneys hint at mental instability. They may pursue an insanity plea. Prosecutors, however, are clear. This was murder. She aimed. She fired. She streamed it. The trial, when it begins, will be brutal. For Jeremy's family, the footage will be played again. For the public, the moral questions will resurface. But the verdict won't change the outcome. Jeremy is gone. A little girl will grow up without a father. And the last thing he ever saw was the woman he once loved pointing a gun at him. Sometimes, the most dangerous place isn't a dark alley or a locked room. Sometimes, it's home, where love turns sour, where apologies rot, where goodbye comes too late. Jeremy Brown didn't die because he was weak. He died because he waited too long to escape. Because society didn't give him a door to walk through, just a cage to stay in. And because when someone's pain is silenced long enough, it ends in a scream no one forgets. They say time heals all wounds. But in cases like Jeremy Brown's, time doesn't heal, it just echoes. It echoes in the quiet of an empty nursery, in the unanswered questions, in the silence left behind by a voice that was never supposed to be silenced. This was more than a crime. It was a tragedy born of neglect, silence, and a world that looked the other way until it was too late. On Sinister Tales, we bring you the stories that haunt the shadows. The ones that don't always make headlines, but should never be forgotten. Because the darkest stories are often the ones closest to home. This has been another descent into the depths of true crime. Until next time, stay sharp, stay safe. And remember, evil doesn't always wear a mask.